Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we're here for the Charles Shaw 145 at Sonoma Raceway. We're going to be going through some twisties and some turns. It's going to be some awesome racing here tonight. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I have Dylan Banks going to be joining me as my co-commentator here tonight, so definitely excited to have him, of course, by my side here in the booth. We have Kobe Jordan, of course, down behind the cameras, going to do a fantastic job as always, of course, bringing us all the awesome camera angles here in Southern California. Dylan, how are you tonight, man? We're at Sonoma. I mean, from what I heard from you earlier, I do believe this is not one of your favorite tracks.
It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful place out there in California. It's gonna be interesting to see these guys tonight going through these twists and turnies, as you said. But yeah, it's not my favorite track, but it's great to watch a race at. I will say that, and I'm excited to see these boys get at it tonight.
This is quite a tough track, and I know I was kind of talking. We were talking a little bit before the broadcast actually started, and I know Kobe as well doesn't really care for this track very much. But I think this is definitely a classic kind of NASCAR racetrack. I mean, when you think of NASCAR Cup Series road course racing, you think of Watkins Glen, and the next track you think of that's immediately in that sentence is probably Sonoma, right? I mean, I think that this is going to be a very interesting race. Very talented drivers going to be making their way to the grid here tonight. As qualifying gets ready to start. I believe we have actually a 10-minute qualifying, so we have a little bit of extra time to kind of talk and work our way through what exactly we should expect here. Of course, this is a 1.99-mile racetrack. Of course, usually it's actually 2.3. That is actually the long version of this racetrack, but I do believe they actually have taken parts of this racetrack out for the Cup Series, and that's what we'll be running here tonight. So this is the short version. 10 turns, I do believe we have here. A lot of elevation changes, and I think that's one of the biggest things that one of the biggest, I think, challenges for these drivers here is going to be navigating these elevation changes. I know Kobe, before the start of the broadcast, was mentioning how there is a lot of blind corners at this track as well. Dylan, what is your experience with this racetrack?
As you just said, the elevation changes here are unlike no other. I'm telling you, you go up into, I think it's turn 1 and turn 2. I mean, it's hard to even see where you're at on the track because the elevation, it goes up so much. So I think the biggest thing here tonight is honestly, the elevation changes. Hotter track, looser cars, seeing how these guys handle the cars tonight as well. That'll play in the hand. But I'm interested to see, as Kobe was saying earlier, they might have to make some green flag stops there in stage 3. So I'm interested to see how those pan out and see who comes out ahead at the end.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be a big deal for sure. Speaking of that, kind of talking about the details of the race, let's pull that up and see exactly what should we expect detail-wise. Of course, this is the Charles Shaw 145. That means 145 miles here tonight. Doesn't sound like a lot, but because it's a road course, you're going to start to stop a whole lot, so it actually is a little bit of a long race here tonight. 73 laps, of course. Stages are 14 and 33. We will have stage cautions. I know a lot of times when we see road course racing in NASCAR, we sometimes don't see stage cautions, but of course I do believe they have reintroduced the stage cautions. 3 sets of tires, 2 altogether, or should I say 3 altogether, 2 in the pits. 35 laps is the fuel window here tonight. So that would make, I do believe, very much the chance of a green flag stop. Looking at that, I do believe that last stage is going to be a roughly, probably just under 40 laps. That is going to make it to where you're going to have to stop. Now, do you stop for tires? I think is going to be the main question. And we know these next gens, you don't have to stop for tires. And I think some drivers are going to make a decision to stop for tires. Some drivers are going to make the decision not to. It really just depends. Last time we've been at a road course, tire wear didn't matter as much, Dylan.
Yeah, road courses are different, unlike any track. They really are. I've experienced them, and I will say they mean a little bit. But honestly, I think I'd rather have warmer tires than new, fresh, cold tires on the car, because the first lap or two on cold tires is rough, Brian. It really, really is. So, I wouldn't be surprised if I see some 2-tire stops, and just fuel stops only. But it's probably gonna be pretty rare tonight that we get a 4-tire stop unless it's under caution.
I think that's a really interesting point, and about the having to warm your tires up, and I think that's what these guys are having to deal with right now in qualifying. They're trying to get these tires warmed up to set kind of a fast lap. As we see Brandon Pastelacqua, he was fastest in final practice. Let's see what he's going to be able to pull together here on his final Q lap. Of course, his first lap was I do believe, minute 15.527, which is pretty fast. But in practice, he was able to hit a minute 14. And here it is, minute 14.910. That's actually not as fast as his practice run. And in practice, he was able to hit a minute 14.2. Paul Hill was able to do the exact same thing, just a little bit slower than Brandon. And I think we talked about that as well. These two, Brandon and Paul Hill, are going to be the drivers that we're going to be really watching. I think those guys are going to be the cream of the crop here. That's going to be where the battle for this win goes down, I do believe. Now, Matt DeCiani, Brian Johnson, what do they feature, as well as Clayton Hoffman? They're all very similarly paced. So if something goes wrong, we could see someone else kind of take the reins of this race, as it looks like Paul Hill has, I do believe he actually just turned a lap faster than Pastelacqua. So he now moves up to that pole position. So great job to Paul Hill, who for now is going to have the pole. We'll see if that lasts. Of course, there is still some qualifiers out there. But let's look at the points coming into tonight's race. I think that's important that we cover that. And, of course, Patrick Gitter at the top of the board right now has about, I do believe, a 19-point lead over Brandon Pastelacqua. And I got to be honest, Brandon Pastelacqua's name is so long, it's spilling over into the win column. So, of course, I have looked at the points already. He does have 1 win. So if anybody's confused. But Patrick Gitter at the top of the board. I don't see Patrick actually in this session, so I'm not sure if he's going to be making it in a little bit late. Not exactly. He's still got 4 minutes, I do believe, for him to be able to actually register and get in here. But, of course, Pastelacqua, if Patrick doesn't show up, this could be a big points boon for Pastelacqua. Now, of course, Brian Johnson sits in 3rd place right now. He's 26 points back. This could also be a big point stay for him. DeCiani, this could be a good point stay for him. Derek Heitman, haven't seen much of him actually in the last couple weeks, which is surprising. He's in 5th. Randy Mullins is in 6th. Abner Acosta, who I truly expected to show up here tonight. He was one, if he shows up, I'd say he'd give him the trophy. He's already won it. He, unfortunately, has not shown up here tonight, though. He's in 7th. Miller Bonds is in 8th. Haven't seen a lot of him here lately. Josh Schaffner is in 9th in the points, and Kyle Holden is in 10th. So this could be a big opportunity for some points, some shake-ups in the points.
And Brian, what you were just saying, we've seen a lot of guys run 114.2s in practice. I think that just goes to what we were saying about the tire changes tonight. Them cold tires, they do not react well, and you can tell by the qualifying laps. They're a lot slower than they were in practice.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, by about a half a second to 8/10 slower. So I mean, that's quite a bit, definitely for sure. No, I agree totally. You have a lot more grip on the warmer tires, and I think that's going to play into that decision later in this race when it comes down to that green flag stop. Not taking tires wouldn't be the play. But then again, another play that I've seen work in races past at tracks such as Sonoma, at road course races, is during maybe one of the stages, maybe at the final stage, or maybe what I actually might would do is at the end of stage 2 or stage 1, I should say, at the end of stage 1 after 14 laps on these tires, just take gas and get back out there. Don't even take tires, because I mean that would give you a ton of track position, and that could be something that could net someone a lot of track position.
Yes, it would, Brian. I think long run though, short run, no tires is fantastic. That's where I would want to go. But long run though, that's what I'm interested to see is if they can hold up compared to the newer tires, because the new tires are going to heat up eventually. But I'm interested to see guys and their strategies tonight. It's going to be an awesome race tonight. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of all plays out. In my opinion, I feel like old tires are not going to be as far as there's going to be some sort of cost you'll pay, and maybe it might just be maneuverability, but I don't think it's going to make you hurt in speed. I know in road courses past, we've seen the lap times actually go down as the run goes on. Of course, as these cars lose gas in the tanks, they become lighter. That changes the handling as well, but it also makes the car faster. I think we're going to see later in this race lap times that are faster than we will in the beginning. But of course, I do believe qualifying is starting to run out. We have about a minute left. We're going to go ahead and take a step away, play our national anthem segment, and then we'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be back with the race here at Sonoma Raceway.
Drivers, start your engines!
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. We're at Sonoma Raceway for the Charles Shaw 145. Of course, we have the, I do believe, grid all set up and ready to go. Let's go ahead and go through that starting grid. Paul Hill going to be starting up on the front row with a minute 14.870. And, of course, he's going to be starting in first in that Ford. Brandon Passalacqua, who was fastest in practice, unfortunately, he was not fastest in qualifying, is going to be starting in second place. Of course, third place is going to belong to Matt DeCiani. Now, I know DeCiani is very good at Sonoma, so expect him to show up here later in this race. Tim Wortman Jr. starting in fourth. Clayton Hoffman, he qualifies in fifth place. Brian Johnson is going to be starting in sixth. John Bender is in seventh place. Greg Wachinski is going to be starting in eighth. Nick King is going to be in ninth place. And Andrew Griesbaum rounds out the top 10. Frank Flores is going to be starting in 11th place. Randy Mullins starts in 12th. Mark Sanchez starts in 13th. Randy Drumhiller in 14th. Jay Holmes starts in 15th. J.C. Evans in 16th. 17th. Kenny Powell, Josh Schaffner is going to be starting in 18th. Alexander Carr in 19th. Jose Medina in 20th. And rounding out this 21-car field is Matthew Cisna. So definitely a nice sized field here for Sonoma. We are missing some drivers, I'd say, such as Abner Acosta. Patrick Gitter, who is our points leader, not here. So he's going to be taking a provisional. I do believe I heard Blair Holloman not going to be here tonight as well. So definitely some names missing, maybe a little intimidated by Sonoma here. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But I do believe we should be getting moving very, very soon. And, of course, we are actually gridded here on the backstretch, or should I say in the S's, on the backside of the racetrack. So we'll have to go a half a lap before the green flag actually flies. We should be moving very, very soon, though. I do believe we're waiting for everybody to get gridded up. I think most people have made it to their starting spots. And here we go. I do believe that Porsche is getting ready to move as we speak. And here we go. Yep, Porsche moving right now. And
there we go.
I'll tell you, that Porsche is probably faster than all these cars around this track.
I'd want to be in the Porsche right now.
I'd want to be driving that Porsche because, he could probably – do you think really – I know the NASCAR cars have probably definitely more horsepower than that Porsche, but I could imagine that Porsche probably gets around Sonoma a lot easier through those corners.
A lot better. The maneuverability in it's probably a lot better, Brian.
Yeah, and there's a lot more weight in those next gens as well. As here we come around, I do believe if I'm not mistaken, the carousel portion of the racetrack. And I'm going to be completely honest, ladies and gentlemen, I am clueless on the numbers of these corners, just to be completely honest. But here we go, getting ready to enter the restart zone. And green flag is out for the first time here at Sonoma Raceway. What a great start there from Paul Hill, as he is going to lead into turn one. Of course, he has the lead secure in hand as they go up the uphill portion. He goes wide into the grass or sand, whatever you want to call that.
Man.
3 wide as Bender has to try to cut his way through. And Hill, who leads on the first corner, unfortunately loses the lead immediately. Wow, that's a big problem for him.
Yeah, it looked like he had a lock up there. He went really far inside compared to the racing line. Interested to see if he just locked it up there or what happened.
And one thing it could have been as well, though, is we talk about the cold tires. Could that have had something to do with it? As Brandon Passalacqua drives away now with a 6 to a 7/10 of a second lead on Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, though, no slouch when it comes to Sonoma. We talked about him. He is a specialist at this racetrack. I've seen him, of course, dominate races here at this place, as he's going to try to send it in on to 6. It gets closer and closer. But it looks like Passalacqua is going to lead the first lap. Of course, Passalacqua started on the outside pole. Probably did not expect to be leading here right now.
Probably not. But
hey,
he'll take it.
Yeah, sure. And I think the person we're going to want to watch, though, is Paul Hill. Him trying to cut through this field. He just got by John Bender. And what a great qualifying effort from Bender, starting in, of course, 6th place. Now has gotten passed by Hill. Hill, of course, working his way up to Brian Johnson. Now, Hill is going to be in desperation mode. What goes through your mind when something like that happens at a road course, Dylan? I mean, do you try to remain calm? Is it difficult to remain calm?
Honestly, in my eyes and all the experience I've had, staying calm is first, the top of the list. It really is, because you get in that habit of like freaking out. It does nothing but bad things. You start missing turns, especially road courses. Start missing your marks, going off the track, losing the car, you name it. So you want to stay cool, calm, and collected, and progressively try to make your way through the field. No, it's not easy. It's never easy, no matter what track we go to. But you definitely want to stay cool, calm, and collected as your mindset to try to get back up there.
No, I definitely agree. One driver that's been making some pretty good time is Clayton Hoffman. He's up to 2nd place already. He just got by Matt DeCiani on that last lap. DeCiani, of course, one of the really great drivers of Sonoma. So surprising to see that 92 up in 2nd place. I know we talked to Clayton last week.
We got one on the apron.
Like Tim Wortman Jr. with some issues. As he gets passed by Hill. Hill now up into the top 5. So working his way back. It looks like Wortman definitely struggling with the handling of the 83 machine. Looks like we might have a replay. And we're going to take a look and see exactly what happened here.
That was a good save.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Right through that dirt. This is going to be interesting to see this 83. And here we go. Let's see exactly what happened here. You see, went a little bit wide, caught a little bit too much of the rumble strips there. That was a really good save. Got to give him a lot of credit for that. That could have been a whole lot worse than it really was. I mean, he only lost a couple spots.
I'll take losing a couple spots over slamming a wall any day of the week. He did a fantastic job.
Really, he did. I mean, we got to give him a whole lot of credit for that. There are a lot of walls around this place as well, so he definitely did a really good job. As I do believe we're looking on board with Hill at the moment as he's following Brian Johnson.
Yeah, he's
you
on
see
the
Hill
move.
determined. He is bound and determined as you see, of course, Johnson attacking the curb. Whoa! And it looks like Hill is going to move up to 4th. I think Johnson might have moved out of the way on purpose. He just did not want to have to battle the 26.
And as you were saying earlier, Brian, and we've talked about it several times tonight, them cold tires at the start of the race, a lot of guys overdrive it a little bit, and because I mean you're pushing the car to the limits no matter what you're doing. But them first couple laps, trying to get the tires heated up, it's tough, man. It really is. Cold tires are no joke at road courses.
Yeah, 100%. We have somebody going off a little bit further back, Matthew Cisna, who had worked his way up to, I do believe, 14th place. Unfortunately, went off the racetrack. He is now in a heated battle with J.C. Evans and Kenny Powell, of course, back here outside of the top 15 now. So we have some issues back further back on the racetrack. And I do believe we might have a replay where we can see exactly what happened here with the 11. And you can see he, of course, just going a little bit too deep. You can see the tire lock up right there. Luckily, he was able to rejoin without causing too many issues. But a lot of stuff going on this racetrack, and you love to see. Schaffner, one of the biggest movers so far in this series, or in this race, the 50, is up to 12th now. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, he started in 18th. So he has very much been working his way through the field. At the moment, lap time-wise, he is as good as about our 7th-place driver. So would not be surprised to see the 50 get closer and closer to the front. Of course, he's getting ready to battle with his teammate Randy Mullins. Now, Mullins has not been, I'd say, as competitive at the road courses as I think he'd probably like to be.
Somebody else just went off the track right there. Did the same thing as Tim Wortman.
Looks like Frank Flores, the 8, with some issues here. As we take a look back, and we'll see exactly what happened with the 8 machine. As he was following right behind Josh Schaffner there. And this is
like
such
the same
a
deal
tough track.
Tim Wortman had.
I mean, it really is such an intimidating racetrack. And look at that, just went off the racetrack, taking a quick run through that grass. Good save, though, from Flores. I mean, really minimized the amount of damage he could have gotten there. Didn't really hit anything. Got to give him hats off to him. Josh Schaffner, though, has made his way by Randy Mullins. Now he's attacking the 78 of Andrew Griesbaum. Great camera angles here from Kobe Jordan as we get to watch this battle. I love this. We get to watch off the back end of the 78 as the 50 tries to approach him. Of course, Brandon Passalacqua still in the lead. Now has about 3.2 seconds on Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman has about 0.6 on Matt DeCiani. Paul Hills up to 4th, has about 2 seconds to get up to DeCiani at the moment. Of course, Tim Wortman Jr., who went off the racetrack, had some issues, has rebounded and is starting to catch up to Brian Johnson. As there goes the pass, big send from the 50 of Schaffner. And this is one of the big passing zones. If you can get underneath someone through this area, that's a really good place to pass. Because, I mean, especially if you could get underneath them. You can clearly see that Schaffner was able to make hay while that sun was shining. As we're now 7 laps into this show. Matt DeCiani closing in on Hoffman as we're seeing a battle for second start to heat up.
Yeah, I think DeCiani's seeing Paul Hill in his mirror, and he's ready to go.
No, I totally agree. I mean, looking at the lap times right now from Hill, I mean, Hill is running he's the fastest car on the track except for Passalacqua. Passalacqua, I think, has been consistently running 14.7s, while DeCiani and Hill have been running 14.8s and 9s. So I do believe DeCiani knows that if he has to go up and battle Hill, you know, it could be a difficult fight. I think these guys are very similarly paced. There goes
Hoffman.
92 wide.
Whoa.
Very wide for the 92. Hoffman has said that he does not feel as good at the road courses as some of these others here. So, and you can see there was a little bit of I'd say a chink in his armor. As here we go. We're going to take a look back at this, and I think looks like he just maybe a lockup. I'd like to see that from the cockpit camera.
Me too. I was going to ask you, Brian.
I'd like to see if we could look on board and see what his inputs were with the wheel. Maybe he did that on purpose, I was thinking, but he lost a lot of time with that maneuver.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, Brian. I was about to ask you, do you think he was just trying to let DeCiani go there? Or do you think he locked it up? It kind of looked like he
I don't
locked it up a
know.
little bit.
That's why I was thinking he might have locked it up. No, I think he let him go. He did this on purpose. That was on
Okay.
purpose. You could see that quick wheel movement to the left. You don't do that unless you're trying to let somebody go. I think he was picking his battle there, to be honest with you. I think he was just like, I know DeCiani's faster than me. Why battle him and risk our race, right? I think that's what his maybe
right.
thought process was. But now he's got a fight on his hands with Paul Hill. Does he do the same thing for Hill? Looking at
That's a
last
great
lap,
question.
Paul Hill was fastest on the track. And I know that we kind of haven't done it yet tonight, but I mean, I think we had discussed it under commercial break whether we were going to do our picks for tonight. Who do we think is going to win this race? Kobe Jordan, I do believe, had picked Paul Hill. Dylan, who are you picking?
Oh man. I said it as soon as I got in here tonight that Paul Hill is. I've raced with him in and a couple other leagues, and this guy, he is really, really strong at road courses, and it's showing here tonight. But my pick, I think, is going to be Paul Hill tonight. I think it's either going to be Paul Hill or DeCiani tonight. But if I had to go with somebody, I think it's going to be Paul Hill. He is really strong at road courses, and it's showing.
No, I definitely I like that choice, but I got to go a different direction. I got to go with the man that's up in the lead who has a 5-second lead right now, and that's Brandon Pasolaco, who has shown speed in practice. He's shown speed in qualifying. He's consistent, and I think that's what you look for in a road course winner, and I think that's what he's got. I mean, I'm going with that 6 machine.
That's not a bad pick, Brian. Consistency is what it's all about here at road courses. You could be fast and not be consistent, and it won't play out for you. You've got to be consistent at road courses.
You do. You have to be able to put a full race together. I mean, you can't. I mean, being fast at one lap for one lap's great, but you got to be able to put consistent laps down. As of course, DeCiani drives away.
Paul Hill gets loose.
Hill getting a little bit loose. I bet Hill's probably a little bit frustrated, I got to be honest, because he's having to deal with Hoffman. Hoffman, I think, was a lot nicer to DeCiani than he has been to Hill.
That sure looked like it, didn't it, Brian?
It definitely does. But now Hoffman has started to pull away a little bit here. We haven't talked about it a whole lot. Of course, we talked about tire wear being maybe an issue. But could you maybe make someone burn their stuff up a little bit more? And maybe that could be what would hurt a driver like Paul Hill, who's desperately trying to get through this field.
I think he could, Brian. It's a very, very long race. Tire wear isn't as big as it is at other tracks here at road courses, but you can still burn them up. Trust me. You burn the rears at a road course, you're in for trouble. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. You are in for massive trouble if you burn them rears up, because it's already loose enough. Can you imagine with burnt up rears trying to get through this place?
Yeah, I could definitely see that being a tough thing, especially when if you have burn up rears and you're going over some of these, let's say elevation changes. I do want to look though. Josh Schaffner has been just absolutely tearing his way through this field. Just got by Greg Wyszynski and is now up to 8th. I mean, this guy started in 18th. And he's up to 8th, up 10 positions. He is on the move. And I don't think he's done. I think he's going to work his way up into possibly the top 5. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm really keeping an eye on the Iceman, Josh Schaffner. I think we were watching some stuff, some battling further back. I think Kenny Powell was in the midst of a fight there with teammate J.C. Evans. I do believe I see Mark Sanchez. So G&G all outside of the top 15 kind of battling for position back here.
Well, you see what Schaffner did, don't you, Brian? He didn't put up a practice time or a qualifying time.
Something is going on. DeCiani is on pit road.
Oh, man.
Matt DeCiani.
I wonder if that's scheduled.
I have no idea if this is. Yes, I think this is. Oh, wow. This could have been the biggest strategy play I think we've probably seen. Could this be something we're going to see more of? This is a short pit strategy. This is to get track position.
Hey,
What a
I'm
call
not.
from Matt
That's a great
DeCiani.
call. That's a great call there, Brian. That it really is.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. We talked about maybe seeing some guys just take fuel only on pit stops, but I did not expect to see a short pit before the actual stage caution came out. That is I got to say, I really like that decision from DeCiani. I think this is going to net him track position, and this could be, if he can hold off Passalacqua, this could be the play. We talked about how good DeCiani is anyway. How much better is he going to be in clean air, right?
Oh, man. I can imagine. You get out in clean air, and that means a lot. And I'll add to your point, Brian, about short pitting before the stages. He timed it absolutely perfect. I think he was the only guy that actually went down and pitted. But this road courses are the place to do it because you do not go a lap down at road courses unless you were way back there in the pack. So this is the place to do it if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and you just stay out. You don't even have to pit when that stage caution comes out. You just stay out, and then you have the track position while everybody else is pitting. I mean, I think it's genius. But the thing is about it as well is, do we see someone else at the end of stage 2 or near the end of stage 2 pull the same plan? Because they see it work for him. They see it nets him track position. I mean, I would not be shocked to see someone else do it because of this.
I wouldn't either, Brian. I really wouldn't. I think guys they've seen what Matt did there, and I think they're going to use it in their hands later on in the race. So I think we're going to see a whole bunch of strategy calls in this race.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely excited to see them. That's for sure. I mean, just to see strategy play. I mean, and the thing is that what's great about it too, Dylan, is a lot of times we see these strategy races in the ISCA. We see them try to almost play out, but then unfortunately we get that disappointment of something ruining it, like a late race caution. We're not going to see that tonight. We know how many cautions we're going to have. We joked about it, I think, under the break. Our producer said we're not going to pick how many cautions we're going to have tonight. We're not going to do the over-under like Big Al always does. And Kobe says, I picked 2 before anybody else says anything. And I say, I picked 2 as well. He's like, 2's already been chosen. You can't.
I see you, Kobe.
A very astute observation that we're only going to have 2 cautions here tonight. So, I mean, the strategy, these guys know what to expect, so they can kind of arrange their strategies based on that.
And another thing is, Brian, to add on to what Matt DeCiani did right there, he goes down and takes fuel only. He doesn't put tires in the car or nothing like that. Do these other guys come in and do they take tires and fuel?
I don't think DeCiani's pitting at all. And there goes
not
the
DeCiani, the other guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll have to, I don't know. That's another level to the strategy, but it looks like the caution flag has flown for the conclusion of Stage 1. Brandon Passalacqua, your Stage 1 winner. Clayton Hoffman in second place. Paul Hill in third. Brian Johnson fourth. Tim Wortman Jr. fifth. Josh Schaffner sixth. What a move for Schaffner, up to sixth.
Wow.
Seventh, John Bender. Eighth, Greg Wyszynski. Ninth, Matt DeCiani. 10th, Nick King. With that, we're going to take a step away. We'll come right back. We'll talk to our Stage 1 winner. Don't go anywhere.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At fallinveteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Brandon, we were waiting on you guys to pit. Are y'all just staying out, or?
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess tires don't mean anything at road courses, and it hasn't been for the last year or two. So it's really just a fuel mileage race. That's why I think you saw DeCiani pit. I think that's going to bode well for him on this next stage. He'll have to take less fuel than the rest of us. So for me, points are critical. So I decided to stay out and get that playoff point plus the 10 stage points.
Oh, okay. 'Cause we weren't even sure if pit road was open. We were like, why is no one pitting?
Yeah.
But congratulations on the stage 1 victory. How's the car feeling?
The car feels good. You know, we have a cooler track temp right now than we've had all week, so that helps a lot. So, you know, it's such a balance between, you know, getting all you can get at a road course and then staying on track. So it's a delicate balance, and did a good job in stage 1 taking care of the car. It's going to be a little bit tougher now that I have Clayton around my rear bumper, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, we definitely, I believe in you. I picked you to win this race, Brandon. Do not let me down. Who can we shout out before we let you go?
I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, road coursing is one of my favorite form of racing, so I'm not the best, but it's a lot of fun. Give a shout out to OB Builders, Door and Trim, Ram Welding and Fabrication, and then my guys at Paradigm Motorsports.
All right, Brandon. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Brian.
All righty, that was Brandon Passalacqua. I was confused at why those guys weren't pitting, so apparently it was a strategy play there as well. Dylan, I mean, we're just getting strategy calls all the time here.
I see, and that's the thing. I didn't know. I didn't know how much fuel was in the car. I didn't know how many laps they could go.
35 laps. So, I mean, it makes
That
sense.
it does.
But I just did not think. I thought they would pit. I mean, especially with DeCiani making the call he made. But there goes the pace car down pit road.
Whoa!
Oh, they almost had some beating and banging there before
They
we
did
even
have
went
some beating and
green.
banging.
Did they hit
What
each
in the
other? I
world?
don't see any damage on the race cars.
They
I think
definitely
we're
hit each
okay.
other, but I don't think it was much.
Getting ready to go back green here. Green flag out for the second time here at Sonoma Raceway. Brandon Pasalaco with a really good start. This could be a big opportunity for Paul Hill. Does Hill
Yes,
make
it
the
is.
same mistake again? And it looks like, no, he's going to rocket his way up to second place. What a great performance there from 26. I think he learned his lesson on that first restart.
I think he did, Brian. But as we were just saying, I think Brandon's got a mirror full now with Paul Hill behind him. I think he's going
Whoa,
to have to.
Wortman with some issues. Tim
Oh,
Wortman
man.
Jr. with some issues, getting
Oh,
really
man.
loose. And it looks like
Ooh,
DeCiani
he's
is
got
going
a
to drive
couple
right
cars.
by him. He's getting passed by a lot of cars right now. Bender, I should say, now side by
man.
side with the 83 of Wortman. But it looks like Wortman has cut off or stopped the bleeding. Wortman definitely fast here at Sonoma, but seems like he just almost keeps getting maybe some issues with some banana peels out there on the racetrack. It's like we're playing Mario
Kart all
here.
over. Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, and I know you said a lot tonight. I am keeping my eye on Josh Schaffner up to 6th place from starting 18th. He is on the move.
He's actually, just to correct you, and no disrespect intended, he's in 5th.
Wow.
He's in 5th. Isn't that just incredible? I mean, I got to say, even if he doesn't win this race, and I don't think he's got the pace right now to win the race, but I say it's a win either way. I mean, the man started in 18th, and he's up in 5th.
Started dead
That's
last,
incredible.
pretty much. Yeah,
That's
it is.
incredible. I mean, he deserves a lot of credit for that. I mean, and if he keeps on this, I think I might pull him in and talk to him and be like, hey, what is the secret here tonight? Because, I mean, he's catching up quickly to his Paradigm teammate, Brian Johnson. So I would not be surprised that Schaffner gets up to the podium. It could happen.
Yes, he is. He is a man on a mission tonight.
And, of course, Matt DeCiani sitting in 6th place. I think that's the biggest takeaway. One of the things that I thought interesting about the interview with Pasalaco that he alerted us to, that the reason DeCiani did what he did was so he would spend less time in his box under that pit stop at the end of stage 2. And it's like that's definitely, that makes a lot of sense.
It does, Brian. I didn't know how much fuel was in the tank. I thought everybody would have to pit there to make it to the next stage. But they can make it to the next stage on that first tank of gas they have. So I think it was honestly really, really smart by DeCiani to go in there and take fuel. Even if he took fuel only, he can. I mean, he'll have a shorter stop next time they pit, and I think he can get the lead. I think that was a smart strategy, especially if he can get up there and pass a couple guys, maybe get up to 3rd or 4th. He'll have a chance of getting the lead off pit road.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think he's going to have to really, really work hard to try to get by some of these guys right now, and I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do. I mean, last time by was his fastest lap of the race, a minute 14.374, which was, I do believe, 3rd or something fastest lap of the entire event right now. Pasalaco, of course, has the fastest lap right now, and he turned that last lap a minute 14.204. That's actually faster than his practice lap. That was the fastest.
He's moving now, Brian.
He's moving. Pasalaco was
Schaffner
flying
just let
right
him
now.
by. Well, Schaffner just let DeCiani by, so there's another spot for DeCiani. He's up to 5th now.
Yep, up to 5th, and probably won't have too many issues getting by Brian Johnson. But Paul Hill, got to give him a lot of credit. He's up into 2nd place right now, running some really good laps. Last time by, minute 14.297. But Pasalaco just bested his best lap, minute 14.168.
Wow.
Who's to say that Pasalaco won't break into the sub-14s? I mean, it's possible that he hits the 13, a minute 13. It could happen. And I'd love to see that. I mean, I would a lot of people were like, Brian, they're just numbers. Why do you care so much? But it's so cool. They're numbers with race cars. You know?
It is. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he breaks into maybe even 113. Honestly,
Just
this
possible.
guy he
He's
is
not far
flying.
off. He's not far off right now of those
Not
kind
at
of
all.
laps.
I mean, that's
But of
faster
course-
times than they were hitting in practice.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of that comes down to is kind of something we discussed before the actual start of the race. When we were kind of talking about what we should expect. The more fuel that kind of drains out of these race cars, the more fuel these guys burn, the faster these cars are going to go. And I think that's, tire wear does matter. But Brandon even said that it doesn't matter as much. So if these guys get these cars lighter, they're going to get faster too.
I think so as well, Brian. That's a good point. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. Will guys be taking just the right amount of fuel to try to make it, or will they just go ahead and fill it on up to just guarantee that they can make it the rest of the way?
We got
very
problems for
interested to see.
Brian Johnson. Sorry to interrupt you. The 4 of Brian Johnson with issues. He drops all the way down to 8th. As if you believe he might have had a little bit of a moment. We'll have to see if maybe we could pull this up on. I think we have a replay. And it looks
He went
like
wide.
I think he went a little wide. Probably took a little bit of a trip off the racetrack. A little southern California excursion here. Wow. Look at that. I love the slow-mo. Kobe, you just earned your pay. Throwing the slow-mo in. And look at Schaffner. Schaffner just barely missing Brian Johnson. Wow. That was awesome.
Well, Brian, you notice where everybody's having the biggest trouble?
Right.
It's the same spot.
That same
It's
spot.
that elevation.
You're right. It's that elevation change. And, you see that a lot at other tracks. One track in particular that comes to mind is Lime Rock Park. There's a certain area of Lime Rock Park. It's like an uphill. And if you hit that hill and you have too much gas in it, the car will spin around. It doesn't really matter what kind of car you're in. It just seems like, because I've raced there in the Skip Barber car. I've turned laps there in a NASCAR. More of I think it was a truck. But no matter what car you're in at Lime Rock, if you hit that bump and you got gas if you got any gas in it, it's gonna want to spin out. And that's the same thing here. I think these guys are having that same issue through that certain area here in Sonoma. So it's a similar bump, like you said. I think that hill unloads the race car. It's almost how, how your stomach almost goes up into your throat whenever you're on a roller coaster. It's kind of that
Yep.
feeling, but the car is unsettling,
It is, very much so. I for sure thought I was going to get the right track you were guessing. I thought you were going to say Coda Turn 1.
Okay. See, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Coda. But that one
Huge
has
uphill.
a big bump, yeah.
It's a huge uphill going into Turn 1. Huge uphill. You're basically going up a mountain into Turn 1.
And look at that. Paul Hill taking a little bit of a trip off the racetrack too, but he was able to keep it under control. As he is, you can just tell, I can see Hill, he is desperate to try to catch Passalacqua. Now, this is the kind of track that, you really want to watch that guy ahead of you. And I would not be surprised that Hill is watching Passalacqua very closely and trying to figure out what is his weakness? What is he doing? And what can I do to be better than him, right? I mean, this is kind of, when you're following somebody that's a little bit faster than you at a road course, you get a free lesson.
That's exactly right, Brian. And I can see what you're saying. He is probably getting a little hesitant to try to get up there, but you want to be careful in doing so, because when you get when you try to get too much out of the car and you try to push a little bit harder, you tend to make mistakes. So you just want to be as consistent as possible, hit your marks, and try to be there at the end, because you definitely don't want to go off the track here like we've seen other guys do, slam into an inside wall, whatever. But you just want to stay consistent.
Looks like Brian Johnson has recovered here. He's up to now 7th place. I think further back, I saw some battling there. Jay Hone has moved up to the 11th place position, just got by Andrew Griesbaum. They're still actually in the midst of a battle as of course the Castrol 19 tries to battle with that 78 machine. I think that's Perina, I do believe. Yeah, Perina, that's right. Of course, Andrew Griesbaum. So battling right now for 11th position. A big mover tonight, I got to say. We saw Matthew Cisna had some issues earlier in stage number 1. He had fallen quite a bit back, I think, outside of the top 15. Now he is up in 9th. So got to give the 11 machine some credit, up in the top 10 here.
Yes, he is on the move as well.
And, of course, Matthew Cisna trying to reel in Clayton Hoffman, who's in 3rd place right now. The gap right now is about 2.7 seconds. Not a whole lot of close racing action on the track at the moment. Closest battle is that same battle we were just talking about, Jay Hone and Griesbaum for 11th place. Of course, we are closing in on, I do believe, the end of stage 2. As you can see, Randy Mullins has been struggling here tonight, and I know he's probably got to be frustrated. Just does not seem like he's a very good road course racer, and I hope that people don't take that as mean I'm disrespecting him, because every other track, every oval we see Randy at, very strong driver. But of course, this is Sonoma. This is a tough place, and you can tell that Mullins does not want to give these positions up. He is battling Jay Hone tooth and nail, and there goes Hone off the racetrack as a result.
Oh, man.
Hone, unfortunately, having to lose a spot to Griesbaum. I'm sure he's not going to be too happy about that. But Randy, desperate to hold on to these positions. And you know exactly why, though, Dylan. I mean, Brandon even kind of alluded to it a little bit about how every point is so important. Randy's in 10th. If Andrew Griesbaum or Jay Hone gets by Randy, he doesn't get a stage point.
That's right. They see these laps unwinding down. They're trying to go. Somebody's slower in front of them. I mean,
well,
they're not going to give the spot.
Mullins. Well, I guess I stand corrected. Randy Mullins, I thought he was going for stage points there, but it looks like he has elected to do a stop right here, a short pit for track position.
It's not a bad call either there.
Down pit road. Yeah, interesting call.
Yeah, that's a very interesting call to see. I mean, especially where he was at. I mean, you only get one stage. I think one stage point for 10th, but every stage point matters.
Yes.
But I can't blame him. He wants to be up. He wants that track position. It's hard to beat that track position. He's focused on the end of this race. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more guys back there come down in the next couple of laps too, because pit lane closes, I think, with 2 to go. So we got a couple more laps to see how many people are going to come down and do the DeCiani and just take fuel only.
It could be, something we see for sure. But one thing about it, we saw Randy actually take tires, so he is going to be trying to warm them things up. I mean, you can tell just looking at him, he just seems a little bit sketchy. So let's see what he's able to do. Of course, I do believe he fell quite a ways down the running order as he gets past. Actually, he is going to go a lap down. Oh my. This is not how he wanted it to go. Because, I mean, if this strategy was going to play out correctly, you have to be on the lead lap.
That's right. Them cold tires, I'm telling you, they're no joke. And I mean, he's going a lap down. At this point, he's just trying to stay hooked up to Brandon's bumper because he needs that lucky dog. But I mean, this is going to backfire.
It is, considering like you said, he needs a lucky dog. Alexander Carr just went a lap down, which means he's not the lucky dog anymore. Alexander Carr is. So there he goes. He just got the lucky dog back. He actually just passed Alexander Carr. But still, this is not what Randy Mullins needed. He should have, I got to be honest, I think he should have just stayed out and managed and tried to hold on to that 10th spot just to get that point. I think that hindsight is going to, he's going to look back at this race and he's going to be like, what was I doing?
Well, another thing is, I taking tires there, I don't think that was really smart. You do that on a caution pit stop. You don't do that green flag. especially at a road course. The tires don't mean that much. So I was interested to see him take tires there, but as you were just saying, it's hard to give up. If you're in the fight for stage points, I wouldn't give it up.
At all. I mean, not at all. I mean, especially you just need you need points. And of course, we're looking, I do believe, at the 3 machine. Of course, he's showing as the 5 on our stream here. But that is Nick King. We're watching him try to battle with Mark Sanchez for 13th. Now, I do want to point to the front end of that race car. He has beaten that thing pretty badly. And I'm not sure exactly. We didn't actually get to see that accident, but that thing is holding on by a thread. How is that bumper still there? Looks like they're holding that thing on with willpower and some rubber bands. But at the moment, I do believe we just hit, or just a moment, we're going to hit that 2 laps to go mark in stage number 2. And King desperately to try to get by as we see the battle heating up for what I do believe is 3rd place. Matt DeCiani has caught Clayton Hoffman.
Oh, wow.
And this is, yeah, what a battle.
I'm interested to see if anybody pits here, Brian. I'm wondering, because this is the last time they're able to pit on a green. I wonder if anybody's going to go do a little splash and go.
I don't know. It's definitely a very, very good question. At the moment, I do believe the pit road is still open. Now, I do know that we will see pit road close.
I think as soon as Brandon passes the start line.
Oh, here, maybe we almost. I thought DeCiani was going to try it again, but it looks like Clayton Hoffman has decided to pull a strategy here.
Oh, wow. This could be huge. That's what I was saying. I'm not surprised. He's going for the win.
Yeah,
he knows the track position is key.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But I gotta say, I gotta be honest, and I'm sure that a lot of people are gonna be like, Brian, what are you talking about? But I just don't know if Clayton has the consistent speed to really match up with Pasalacqua or hold those guys off. Maybe he hasn't been showing all of his speed, because, I mean, of course, his fastest lap, minute 14.357. Now, of course, that's not on the pace of Pasalacqua. It's really close, though. So if Clayton can bring the consistency up a little bit with his laps, I think he could possibly be in the running for winning this race. But at the moment, I don't see it. Now, with this strategy, if he gets out front with the clean air, it is possible. He could surprise me.
Very much possible. Clean air, I mean, you see it. I don't know if he's got the same pace as Brandon and Paul do up there in the front, but you never know, Brian. I mean, you get in that clean air, the car feels a lot better. I guess we'll have to see.
Maybe he made adjustments. Maybe he made adjustments too. I mean, that could have been as a strategy. You know, Clayton, known as one of the best builders, I think, on the iRacing service. I mean, he's very talented when it comes to adjusting on race cars. He knows what buttons do what. I don't. He knows. I don't. But I mean, so I mean, when it comes to if something's not handling right on the 92, he knows what to do to kind of adjust on that car, and maybe that could be a difference maker for that 92.
Very well could be. You being a driver on the sim as well, you've got to know every in and out of the car, what adjustments to make, everything like that. Because I mean, if you don't go in there not knowing if you go in there not knowing what you're doing, I mean, it's not going to be good for you come long run.
Yeah, no, for sure. Of course, I do believe Brandon Pasalacqua is getting ready to finish this lap. I think we did miss something, though, because Greg Wyszynski doesn't have a front bumper. So, looks like he might have had an issue. I'm not exactly sure what happened. But caution flag is out. And look at that, the sweep from Brandon Pasalacqua. He wins stage 1 and he wins stage 2. Paul Hill comes home in 2nd place. Matt DeCiani in 3rd. Josh Schaffner in 4th. Tim Wortman Jr. 5th. Brian Johnson in 6th place. John Bender in 7th. Matt Cisna in 8th place. Andrew Griesbaum 9th. Clayton Hoffman rounds out our top 10. We're going to take a step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to whoever Dylan wants to talk to.
you served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series at Sonoma Raceway. I do believe we're going to go ahead and talk to our, I do believe, biggest mover of the race. We're going to bring up Josh Schaffner. And Josh Schaffner, we got Dylan Banks standing by. Dylan,
Yes, sir. Josh, dude, what do you have under that hood, dude? You have been flying through the field tonight. What is up under that hood?
Hey, appreciate you guys having me up. Yeah, I got a good car. Didn't qualify tonight. Kind of just tried a little. Wasn't sure what setup I run under one. Kind of went through a few options and kind of went with one I hadn't ran a lot of laps on, and I've liked it. Everyone at Paradigm's doing a good job tonight. Brandon's got a rocket ship up there, and unfortunately Brian had a little bit of a half spin there and cost a little bit of time, but it had to be patient coming up to the field. It's hard. It's got to be really patient, but I was glad to get up there, get some stage points in stage 1 and stage 2. And, I'm probably a 6th place car-ish, somewhere in there, but we'll still do the best we can and see if we can bring home a good finish.
Yeah, Josh, me and Brian have been talking about it all night in the booth. I mean, you start 18th, didn't put up a time in practice, didn't put up a time in qualifying, and you have just carved through the field all race long, no matter where you're at. To come away with stage points in both stage 1 and stage 2 after where you started is quite impressive. But you got any strategy calls you think you're going to make? Anything to try to get up there and contend for the win that you see happening?
Yeah, from a strategy standpoint, I think all that's done. We'll be able to make it on fuel. This stage 3, so I won't be back to pit road, and I think everybody's going to make it. I know Brandon's probably going to be the closest on our team. I think he had 3 laps less of fuel than I did, kind of at the end of the first 2 stages there. So, but I think he's still going to be in good shape. He'll be right on his window, but yeah, it's just going to be green flag to the end, and yeah, strategy's all done. So we'll just make sure we got enough fuel and hopefully bring home a top 5 or 6 here.
Well, I promise you, Josh, we are pulling for you up in the booth. We love what we see out of you tonight, and we hope you get up there and contend for the win, man. But before we let you go, you got any shout-outs you want to give?
I want to thank everyone at Paradigm Motorsports, all the hard work this week, everyone at ISCA, Kenny Powell, Brian Britt, you guys up at the booth. Got to thank TWRS running their stuff this week. Great set. Appreciate their hard work. And, obviously want to, thank, Pioneer Seeds and, all our farmers and ranchers across the country that work so hard. And work in that industry is a great place to be. Enjoy it. So appreciate you guys having me up. We're getting ready to go green.
Yes, sir, buddy. Well, good luck to you, and we hope to see you there at the end.
Alrighty, that was Josh Schaffner, driver of the 50 machine. They're getting ready to go back green here. As, of course, he has been running his way through the field, and always the humble guy is Josh Schaffner, does it? Oh, I was just a sixth-place car. You drive yourself from 18th all the way up to 5th. Whatever. I don't even want to hear it. Here we go, though.
Guy.
Clayton Hoffman with the strategy call gets himself up in the lead. Green flag getting ready to fly here any moment. Of course, Matt DeCiani pulled a strategy as well. He jumped up to second spot. So here we go. Green flag is out as we start stage 3. One shocking thing that Josh mentioned is that these guys think they can make it to the end on gas. That's news to me.
Yes, it is, Brian. I'm interested to see that now. We got Hoffman and DeCiani 1 and 2. They have not ran up there all night, and Brandon is now P3. I am very interested to see how this plays out.
I am very interested as well. I mean, I think if anybody can't make it to the end on fuel, if this is possible, these guys can make it to the end on gas, Clayton can't. I don't think Clayton can, because if he's short pitted that stage and fuel's tight, he's going to be down a couple laps on gas compared to the other drivers.
Could be. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. I think he's got enough though, but it probably won't be by much because he definitely wouldn't have short pitted right there if he didn't have enough, and he definitely would have came down pit road and topped off.
Well, here he goes. He goes high, tries to arc the corner. This is going to give Matt DeCiani the lead. And DeCiani up to the top spot. And I don't know if you want to give this guy the lead. Battle's still on, though. Clayton was side-by-side still for there just for a moment. But here comes Brandon Pasalacqua starting to attack the Nitro 92.
Yeah, I'm interested by that move there, Brian. Hoffman, I wouldn't have gave that lead up if I were him right there. I'm interested to see, though. He could be trying to save a little bit of fuel there.
And that's what kind of confuses me. You know, you hear Josh talk about, oh, we can make it on gas. We still have, I do believe now, 36. We had 36 or 37 to go when the green flag flew. Fuel window from my information here is 35 laps. These guys are going to have to try to save some gas in order to make it that extra time. So I think that, yes, some guys can make it, but I think it's going to come because of saving. You're going to have to save some gas here, I do believe.
I think so. I mean, we got somebody spinning back there. Somebody just hit the wall hard.
Tim Wortman Jr. in the 83. Oh, Clayton Hoffman very loose on the exit. But yeah, Tim Wortman Jr. just had a big moment, and he is still in the middle of a hornet's nest right now as we take a look back at the replay to see what just happened here with the 83. He's had trouble all night long, and you see he just, I think, gets off the track a little bit. So what happened was he attacked one of these curbs a little too hard, which unsettled the race car. And then when he came in off of one of these corners, the car was already unsettled, and I think when he got back to the throttle, it just kicked loose. And you can see right here,
oh, man.
He didn't hit the wall as hard as he could have. I'll tell you that. But he's still in the running. He's in 11th place right now. Jose Medina, I do believe, has some issues.
Well, I'm interested to see right there, Brian. I am very interested to see.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with the 48. Looks like he's going to get just loose off of, I do believe this is turn 10. And he, of course, doesn't hit anything, but he does lose some track position. Of course, back up towards the front of the field, Paul Hill has gotten by Clayton Hoffman. Now Hoffman back in 4th place. And Pasalacqua trying to chase down DeCiani. But remember how I talked about a driver maybe being able to hit a minute 13 second lap? Well, Matt DeCiani has done that. Minute 13.851 from the one machine. He is, I mean, we've talked about it before, and I don't know why I'm surprised. I mean, DeCiani is amazing at this racetrack, and now that he has clean air, it's going to be tough to beat him.
It's icing on the cake right here.
This is going to be tough. I mean, DC, look at this. I love this that we're showing his inputs. Just how flawless he drives this racetrack.
I mean, that's impressive, Brian. I mean, yeah, that just shows you how much clean air means. I mean, he got out front. He's running away with this thing, or trying to at least.
No, he definitely looks fast. That's for sure. I mean, fastest lap of the race so far comes from Matt DeCiani. Can he continue this momentum, though? We know that Pasalacqua is very consistent. It's going to be tough. As we see a big send from Wortman Jr. Wortman trying to pass Jay Hone at the moment, and he's going to get by him. In front of them, of course, we see Bender and Matthew Cisna duking it out for 8th. So a lot of battling. Oh, Bender into the wall a little bit there. So a lot of battling.
I was interested there, Brian. When Wortman hit the wall right there, he hit it at an angle. You got to be very careful. That's easy. They're easy to break a toe link in these cars if we hit it just right. But he's looking like he don't have any problems. He's trying to get up to the field again.
Yeah, it's surprising. I mean, he has been fast. I got to give Wortman a lot of credit. He's been quick, but he has not been consistent, I'd say, when it comes to how safe he's being. You know, we've seen him with some problems. I mean, he's gone off the racetrack, but he has been consistently in the top 10, and he's showing lap times that are faster than a lot of the field. I mean, majority of the field, he's probably up in the top 10% of lap times, right? You know, when it comes to his fastest laps. So no, I'm very impressed with the 83. I just feel like he just needs to work on his consistency. Paul Hill, though, turns a really fast lap. Last time by minute 14.071. Actually, he just bested minute 13.981. Where's all the 13s coming from now? Brandon Pasalacqua as well has broken into the 13s. He got a minute 13.890. We're starting to see a lot of minute 13-second laps. And guess what? The track temp has actually gone up.
Oh, wow. I'll say one thing, Brian. Paul Hill, he is putting the pressure on Brandon Pasalacqua right now.
Yeah, he is.
He is trying to get up there.
He is putting a lot of pressure right now on the 6 machine. And I got to be honest, I don't know why Brandon's allowing this pressure, because I feel like Brandon has got the speed to hold off Paul. I got to be honest, I think that Brandon is saving fuel. I think Brandon might be, you know, kind of like judging, because I think a lot of these guys are going to have to figure something out when it comes to their fuel. If they're driving real hard, they're not going to save. There you go. Is he clutching? Was there? I thought maybe there was a little bit of a clutch action there to save gas.
Well, Brian, what I just saw, I mean, I think he's seeing a mirror full of Paul Hill right now. I mean, I seen a lock up the brakes a couple times that last lap. He's getting a lot of pressure right now from Paul Hill, and he's having to overdrive the car a little bit to try to keep out front of Paul Hill. Paul Hill is trying to run him down right now.
I mean, that very well could be the case, definitely. I think that you're right. I think Paul has been learning from Brandon in, I think, a lot of ways, and he's now applying everything he's been learning from, you know, Brandon. And I think you, like you even mentioned, you've raced this guy at other times in other series, and he's a very capable road racer. So who's to say that he hasn't been studying this entire time and waiting for him to lay down his cards?
And that's what Paul Hill does best. He learns from other people, and he learns their weaknesses, and he uses them against them. So I would not be surprised to see Paul Hill try to get around Pasalacqua here real soon.
I definitely agree. Of course, Wortman Jr. has made his way up into 8th place. He got by John Bender. So definitely a very good recovery, I'd say, from Wortman Jr. At least he's not out of the woods yet. He's up into the top 10. As you can see, Matthew Cisna right there behind him trying to get up to Bender. Bender's had a pretty steady, stable, quiet night tonight, and that's what you kind of want at a track like Sonoma. You know, I got to be honest, I'm very impressed with all these drivers out here that are still on the lead lap and still turning laps, because this is not a easy track. I mean, it's a very intimidating place, and to kind of stick with it shows a lot of fortitude.
It really is, Brian. This is, I mean, you're hopping on in this track for the first time, it's very intimidating. That's the same for
there
me.
goes Wortman.
Oh man,
Wortman riding through the grass again, and that's going to put him under fire from Bender. So definitely, I tell you, Wortman, and it's through that same section again that he has an issue. But now we're
Paul Hill's putting the
laps.
pressure on
Hill is putting
Paslakwa.
pressure.
Yes, he is. He is trying to get up there.
He is. He got really
It's
close.
going to be hard to
the
get
back
around him,
bumper.
though, Brian. It's going to be hard to get
It's
around
not going to be
Paslakwa.
easy. I just don't think Paslakwa's just going to lay over. I mean, he's been up in the lead for the majority of this race. He won stage 1. He won stage 2. It's going to be difficult to take this from him.
But you know what
But
that does mean,
he
Brian?
could. He might. Go ahead.
You know what that means, though, Brian? He's not going to be easy to get around. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Paul Hill put the bumper to him, try to move him out the way.
And that could very well happen. I mean, I think that there is a distinct possibility that Hill does throw the bumper. Well, hopefully he doesn't. I mean, I think that these guys should be able to race each other with a lot of respect. But also think that you see Matt DeCiani starting to drive away further and further. Do you want to let him drive away? I think it's the big question.
No, you don't. Not DeCiani. You let DeCiani walk away with this thing. Oh, it's Paslakwa's letting Paul Hill go.
Interesting decision. Paslakwa. That is an interesting decision for Paslakwa. I feel like Paslakwa's got the speed to possibly win this race, and I think that might have. I got to be honest. I think that could give away the win. Him doing that, unless he's got some sort of other strategy, some sort of ace in his pocket, or maybe just Hill is coming on really strong right now.
Yeah, I think Paul Hill is. I think he's just coming on. Unless these guys are saving fuel. I mean, you don't let
That's my
somebody
thought.
pass right there.
There you go, and that makes me think that there's some fuel saving going on. Because why would you just let someone go? I think, remember what I was talking about, saying that maybe Paslakwa was saving. I think that's exactly what's happening here. I think that Paslakwa sees the numbers. And Josh even said something about it, too. Josh Schaffner said something about it in his interview. He said, if anybody can't make it in our team, Paslakwa is going to be really close. He did say that. I'm wondering why he said that. What does Josh know that we don't? I think that clearly just now this pass, I should say the giving up of that position shows me that Paslakwa was saving fuel.
It very well could be, Brian. But you heard Josh say they were good on fuel.
Yeah, he did say that.
I'm very interested to see how things are going to play out. I really am, because I was very shocked to hear when he said that they could make it on fuel.
Yeah, I think we all were. I mean, considering we saw the details of tonight's race, being 35 laps in a fuel window, that, this final stage is around 40 laps. So, I mean, that doesn't sound doable.
Doesn't sound right. Yeah.
Unless we just have maybe of our information could be incorrect. It's happened in the past. I mean, a lot of times these fuel runs can be wrong, especially depending on the driver, especially at a road course. I think your estimated fuel window can be really different between different drivers. I mean, let's say, you have Clayton Hoffman driving it versus someone else. The different, the fuel window could be very different.
Schaffner off the track.
It looks like he has managed to recoup. I don't know. Schaffner seems fine.
The 48 just slammed the wall.
It looks like Schaffner might have went off the track for just a moment, but it looks like he is still securely in that fifth place position. So let's see exactly what happened to Schaffner. It looks like he might have had it off track. I don't think he lost too much as a result of it.
I was about to say right before that, too,
right
Brian.
there. That's exactly. Look at it. What a recovery, though.
Great recovery.
You barely even lost anything at all. I mean, he barely I'm glad our producer caught that, that off track for him, because I mean it barely even registered. I mean, of course we got that, probably that 1X showed up, but he didn't lose any time really. What a great job for Schaffner. That just shows how good of a driver he is, because Brian Johnson was right there. He could have easily capitalized on that. You can see Schaffner's not that far off of Clayton Hoffman as well.
Yeah, and I was about to say too, Brian, Schaffner right before that. I mean, he's still there. I mean, he's putting the pressure on Hoffman. He's trying to get to the field, and I think he's got. I know he's a humble guy, but I really think he's got a car better than a 6th place car. Don't you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think he's got a 4th place car. That's where I'm picturing him right now as a 4th place car. I think he's got the speed to maybe put some pressure on Hoffman. He's 5th or 4th in my opinion. So I'm right there with you. I think he's definitely selling himself a little short here. And, Josh has always been kind of known to do that. Very fast driver. Always been a very humble, nice guy. As we're looking further back, I think we're seeing Kenny Powell, who's worked his way up to 4th place, or 14th, I should say. He's trying to catch up to Greg Wachinski. You see Matthew Cisna, who's in 15th. Now, Cisna was up in the top 10 a little bit earlier, so I'm sure he's not too happy with where he's running at the moment. But it looks like maybe Cisna's got a little bit of damage on the race car. Just things have not been going as well as they possibly could. I do want to mention Brandon Pasalacqua has not let Paul Hill go very far. He has been keeping track of him, and I think that shows maybe a fuel-saving thing, because I think he's showing that I have the pace to keep up with him, but I don't want to pass him and push too hard, because, I mean, running in the tire tracks of somebody does save gas, especially on the straightaways.
It does, Brian. I was just about to say that. I mean, he is keeping within half a second of Paul Hill. He is not letting him go very far. So I'm very interested to see if he's just sitting back in his tire track saving.
I think he could be. And the thing about it is Brandon, if he just stays in the rearview mirror, that makes someone nervous. I got to be honest, especially at a road course. I mean, at any track, really, if you have somebody that just stays in your rearview mirror all the time, it makes you nervous.
Yes, it is. It's very intimidating.
It pushes you into maybe making a mistake.
That's right.
And of course, both of these drivers, though, last time by were faster than Matt DeCiani. So I'm sure they're both trying to see if they could possibly catch up to DeCiani. Of course, Matt DeCiani always been a really great road course racer. He's out front at the moment by about 2.8 seconds. As we're coming up closer to 21 laps to go.
They're slowly starting to creep up on Matt. Matt, from what I've seen, he's very, very, very consistent guy, but he is really good in the hairpin. Really, really good. Seems like every time they're about 2.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds back, he gains about a half a second just from the hairpin.
And that's a place where, you can really gain a lot from just being smooth. Being able to kind of, be smooth through the corner. And not have to, maybe use as much brake if you're just able to kind of rotate through there. I do want to mention that Tim Wortman has gotten by Andrew Griesbaum. Wortman has made it back up into 7th place.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see, Brian, if Paul Hill and Pasalacqua can try to catch DeCiani here. I mean, they're keeping with him. They're not letting him go very far. They're within 2.5 to 3 seconds every lap. Seems like the last couple laps, though, they've been catching him slightly.
Of course, I do want to mention that there are now 16 drivers on the lead lap. J.C. Evans is going to go a lap down probably at some point here. And we could see even more drivers go a lap down. Now, that is something that could impact Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, being our leader, will encounter lap traffic. Now, I know as much as probably you do, lap traffic is not good news for a leader.
No, it's not. But at road courses, we do tend to see them let the leaders go a lot more than other tracks.
That's
So
true.
it probably won't play as much of a factor here, but I mean, anything can
could.
happen, Brian.
Well, my thing is like, yes, the majority of people are probably just going to pull over and let that leader go, because what's the point in racing them, considering, you're just probably that much faster than them, at a road course, because it's a lot more skill-based, a lot more, based on just your memorization of the track. But if you catch someone at the wrong place, they can't let you go, right, really.
Yes.
So that would be kind of the what I'm talking about. If Matt catches one of these guys at the wrong place, that opens the door for Paul Hill. That opens the door for Pasalacqua to get up there and possibly catch him.
Man, well, I don't know what happened to Pasalacqua, but
Yeah,
he
he's
is
slowed
now,
down a lot.
yeah. And Paul Hill, he is coming. He is. I mean, I'm looking at lap times and everything. He's faster by a bunch every lap, and he's coming into about 2 seconds now of DeCiani. I'm interested to see if maybe we can get a cockpit view of Paul Hill here to see what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely be a good idea. Very good road course racer. You could tell just very minute changes, to his inputs there. Very deliberate in what he's doing with that wheel. You can just tell this guy knows what he's doing to get around Sonoma. Has spent a lot of time practicing to figure out exactly what he needs to do. And of course, last time by, he was about almost exactly 0.2 faster, or should I say 1/10 faster than DeCiani. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if he continues to do that, he will catch DeCiani eventually.
And another thing is Pasalacqua is just falling like a rock now behind him. I'm wondering if he knows he's short and he's back there trying to save.
It's gotta be fuel. And this just concerns me, because if he's saving this much,
How much
this
are the
makes
leaders
me
short
think,
by?
how much are they short by? Exactly. This makes me think that these guys that are in the lead are not going to make it on gas. I think that Josh Schaffner I think he might have been wrong. That I don't think these guys can make it unless you save.
Well, you see now, DeCiani, he's coming up on some lap traffic now. It looks like J.C. Evans and Cisna up in front. Look like they're battling a little bit up here. Could that give DeCiani some problems?
It could very well give him problems, that's for sure, as we're now 56 laps into the race. And you can see, of course, both of these guys up here battling somewhat. Will this cause issues for Matt DeCiani? As you can see, just in that camera shot, he was coming over the hill. This could bring possibly Hill closer to DeCiani. Of course, Hill has been quickly catching up to DeCiani as it is. I mean, last time by 0.2 faster than DeCiani. But then again, I would not be surprised that these guys both can't make it on fuel. I mean, that is the thing that I'm
very interested to see that.
So curious to see how this all plays out. And the thing is about it, no caution is gonna change it.
Yeah.
We're not going to see any cautions based on an accident. These guys are going to race it out, and you can see, look at that, there's J.C. Evans getting out of the way. Very respectful move for the 9 machine.
Well, DeCiani must have hurt us.
Brian Johnson starting to race for a position possibly.
Yeah, DeCiani must have hurt us up in the booth, because now he's starting to pull away again from Paul Hill.
And Hill has started slowing down significantly as well. Last time by 1:15 lap time. So I gotta say, these guys are saving. I think that Paul's probably he probably thought why did Brandon slow down so much? Then he looked at his black box and he was like, wait a second. Oh, that's why he's slowing down so much.
Yeah, no wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, And you also, I mean, look at the lap times we're seeing from guys like Hoffman, Schaffner, and Johnson. I mean, these guys are not going very fast compared to their fastest laps.
Well, Cissna just held up Paul Hill there. He did
Randy
DeCiani
Mullins
a
in
favor.
pit road. Looks like that's Randy Mullins, 54, on pit road. Could this be, I think this is just a green flag pit stop. Is this a scheduled stop? Clayton Hoffman losing position.
Oh, man, Hoffman went around, Brian. He went completely around. I'm still here. Man, we see a lot of guys going off track right now. Jay Home going into the pits right now. I'm really starting to wonder if these guys can even make it on fuel. I really am. Well, up at the front, DeCiani looks like he's pulling away again from Paul
You
Hill.
guys got me.
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, I was talking that whole time, and apparently you guys didn't hear me. Do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a little bit of some technical woes on my end, at least. I know you guys were still hearing each other. Do apologize. But, yeah, I saw that with the 54 trying to remerge back onto the racetrack. Definitely seemed like he was having some troubles. I also saw the 92, Clayton Hoffman. We saw him have some big issues as well. I don't know if you heard me commentate about that. But definitely a lot of drivers late in this race having some issues, guys.
A lot. The last couple laps, I mean, it seems like 4 or 5 cars have just went off the track. But, I mean, we've seen guys pitting now, Brian. I'm really starting to think that some of these guys can't make it on fuel. I'm very interested to see.
No, I definitely think that's 100% fact. I think there's going to be some drivers that are not going to make it to the end of this race on fuel. They're going to have to make a pit strategy or make a pit stop, do something for sure. I don't know exactly what to expect. I mean, of course, Matt DeCiani, he's out front right now by about 4.4 seconds. Now, what's interesting is Paul Hill was just a little bit ago, just a few laps ago, he was about 3 seconds or less. Actually, no.
He was close to 2 seconds.
He was under 3 seconds, closer to Matt DeCiani. Now he's almost 5 seconds behind DeCiani. So there's clearly something going on.
I think so. And if the guys that pitted there, I think DeCiani would be the shortest on fuel, wouldn't you, Brian? Because I know he short pitted, but I think he did pit on the same laps as Pasalakwa and Paul Hill. But I'm very, very interested to see, because I mean, Pasalakwa, he just fell off like a rock there, and like one lap, it seemed like he lost like about a second or two.
Yeah, and I think he was just kind of, ultra saving in a lot of ways, and that is definitely interesting to see these guys kind of doing that.
That's very interesting to see, because I mean, now Paul Hill, I mean, he's starting to gain on him a little bit again. Now he's trying to get it to about 3 seconds now, but I think this lap traffic's helping Paul get back to DeCiani. But again, I wonder if guys are saving, knowing that they can't make it. Yeah, I think they've got to be.
They have to be. I just don't think that. I think that we got a little bit of a different picture from John Schaffner. I think Schaffner said, "Oh yeah, we can make it. There's not going to be any more strategy. It's just going to kind of run to the end, and we'll all make it." I just don't think that was nowhere near the case. I think these guys are having to save. Maybe Schaffner was planting a little bit of deception for the other teams, maybe to try to make them think that they could make it, just to kind of make some guys, not be competition.
Very
I'll
well
tell you one
could be,
driver-
Brian.
I know one driver that is definitely not going to make it, and that's Clayton Hoffman. I mean, looking at his lap times right now, minute 17, he is ultra saving right now. But of course, we see
Well, he also
he's
short-pitted.
cutting through. DeCiani's cutting through traffic right now. He's short-pitted. That's exactly why I know he's not going to make it.
Yeah, he pit on lap 31. The rest of these guys pit on lap 35. I know it might not seem like
Woo.
a lot, but 4 laps is a lot of fuel.
Mark
At a
Sanchez
road
off the
course.
racetrack, and you can see the leader trying to cut through all of this mess. DeCiani, he's in the danger zone trying to get through this lap traffic. And that's one of the hardest things about a track road course. I mean, getting through the lap traffic, because you don't exactly know where these guys are going to go.
That's very
Paul
true.
Hill has caught back up in a lot of ways to DeCiani, and I think that it has to do with the lap traffic.
We got to wonder, I mean, if DeCiani, I mean, he's still got a bunch of lap traffic in front of him. Looks like 2 more cars still in front of him. I mean, it has brought Paul Hill back into this thing. And you got to wonder if these 2 cars in front of him slow down DeCiani enough. Paul Hill's there.
Another driver we got to keep in mind is Pasalacqua. I mean,
he's still there,
Pasalacqua's lap
too.
times have gotten better here recently. Oh, well, I should say that last lap was not better, but he was the last couple laps faster than both Paul and Matt. So it's definitely, this could go any way. I do believe this could be really, really interesting. Anything can
Ooh.
happen here as we're coming up to 10 to go.
Paul Hill with a little loose moment right there.
I'll tell you, a big question mark on how this race is going to end. I mean, it could come down to someone running out of gas. That's how someone wins this race.
I think so as well, Brian. As I've said about 100 times, I'm very interested to see. I know Pasalacqua, he had to have been saving. There's no way you fall off that much unless you have a slip up or something, but I don't think he did. I think he's just sitting back saving.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think the first half of this race was him dominating. He was dominating this race. So I think he's got consistency, and I don't think that he purposely had a mistake there, or I don't think he made a mistake. I think that was something to where he's just saving gas. I think he knows that the top 2 aren't going to make it, so he's thinking that maybe they'll run out of gas and he'll still be alive. That could be a legit way to win this race.
I think so, Brian. But the problem is now, if the guys in front of him are good, if Paul Hill and DeCiani are good, I mean, he's gonna do everything he can do. It's gonna be a handful to try to get back up to him.
If they run out of gas, he ain't going to have to get it back up to him because they're just going to be stopped on
that's
the side of the
true.
road.
Yeah.
It don't
That's
matter how
very
fast
true.
you are. If you ain't got no gas, you ain't fast at all.
Nope. That's what I'm saying. But if they are good on gas,
Yeah.
and if they do make it, it's going to be very hard, no matter how fast you are, to try to catch them.
And one of the toughest things as well is, at an oval track, like a mile and a half, you can coast across the start-finish line. But when you're at a
Here?
road course, if you run out of gas and you have to hit the
story.
brake, you're not going to be able to get back up to speed. I mean, it's like it's going to be tough to coast across the finish line here. So this is going to be tough. But I'll tell you what, last time by, Matt DeCiani turned a really fast lap. So I don't know. Maybe some of these guys know that they can make it now and are starting to race a little harder because we are closing in on 8 laps to go. We're 9 laps to go at the moment. I think now's a good time. Let's take a quick step away, pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll come back with the final laps here at Sonoma.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here for the Charles Shaw 145 at Sonoma Raceway. Of course, at the moment, Matt DeCiani is out front by about 3.2 seconds on Paul Hill. Brendan Pasolaco, of course, is about 4 or so, should I say, over 4 seconds behind Hill. Pasolaco won Stage 1 and Stage 2, but unfortunately does not look like he's in position to win the race that we know of. Now, fuel is something we are a little bit concerned about, but it looks like, I don't know, lap time-wise, Matt DeCiani and Paul Hill do not seem to be concerned as we're getting ready to start lap 6. What do you think, Dylan? I mean, do you think these guys are sure they can make it?
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, I know Pasolac was good the way he fell back. I mean, there is no way that Pasolac, with as fast as he's been all night, and I don't think he had a slip up at all. I mean, he fell back 2 seconds. It seemed like 2 seconds in like 2 laps. I honestly think, and me and you think the same, I think he fell back to save. Now, DeCiani and Paul Hill, they've been running the tires off this thing. So I'm very interested to see if they have enough fuel or not in the tank. It's going to be very, very interesting to see.
And, of course, Matt DeCiani has lapped the majority of the field. He has now lapped up to 10th place. Andrew Griesbaum, next person to go a lap down. Of course, Matt DeCiani, just a fantastic drive from him. I want to give somebody credit. John Bender, up in 8th right now. I tell you, he's been having a phenomenal season here, just doing great at the road course. I mean, last lap, he actually turned his fastest lap of the race. Minute 15.550. Now, I know a lot of drivers are probably like, well, that's not that great. I mean, some guys are hitting minute 13s. But I'll tell you what, that's faster than I would go. You know, John is doing good. I'm very impressed with that Sundrop driver. You don't finish in the top 10 in the ISCA unless you earn it. I got to be honest. And you could probably attest to that, Dylan. This is a tough series to succeed in.
It is. Any night you can get a top 10, top 5, let alone a win in this league is an understatement. I mean, it's a blessing. It really is, because these guys in here, very good racers in here. I mean, you got DeCiani, Gitter, Pasalacqua, Hoffman. I mean, these guys are incredible. Very clean, respectful guys in this league, but they're also very good drivers in this league. So anytime you can finish good, it's a good day.
Yeah, I totally agree. Of course, we have a little bit of a battle going on. I believe Mark Sanchez just got by Greg Wachinski. And, of course, Andrew Griesbaum now goes a lap down as Matt DeCiani has put him a lap down. So that leaves only 8 drivers now on the lead lap. We were just talking about Bender. Well, Bender is the next one to go a lap down possibly. Of course, Paul Hill is about now 3 seconds back from DeCiani. We're coming up now, I do believe, to 4 laps to go. So quickly, the sand in the hourglass is running out. But of course, if someone runs out of gas, I think probably the more than likely it's going to happen on that last lap. I'm guaranteeing you that everybody's probably got their black boxes up right now, and they're watching their estimated fuel right now.
Scary times, Brian. Scary times.
And
Especially
that
if you're
could also cause
DeCiani.
mistakes. That could cause mistakes too, because if you're focused on that black box, you're focused on that fuel number going up and down, you can't make mistakes. There goes Paul Hill, a little bit of a lockup right there. As Hill still dedicated to try to see if he could possibly, he's desperate to get up to DeCiani. And what a drive from the 26. I got to say, this is probably his best run yet. We have, I think we saw very good speed from him at Charlotte as well. But this is probably, I got to say, the track we've seen him probably do the best at. So he's going to be one I think we're going to circle when we go to the road courses now.
Oh, yeah,
Watch
for sure.
out for Hill. I think he's definitely got the speed. Now 3 laps to go here at Sonoma Raceway. DeCiani, who, if I'm not mistaken, DeCiani started towards the back. Well, no, actually, Matt DeCiani started in 3rd place. So definitely not the greatest qualifying effort here tonight, but he has ran a very good strategy race. Has been playing strategy essentially ever since the beginning of this race. I mean, he short pitted stage 1 just to be able to have more fuel. That way, whenever he had to pit at the end of stage 2, he would have to spend he would be able to spend less time in his box, and it worked flawlessly. Allowed him to come out in 2nd place to start stage 3. And of course, we saw Clayton give that spot up, that lead up very quickly. And that has led to DeCiani essentially dominating stage number 3.
Well, I'll tell you who's moving, Brian. Is Paul Hill. He's coming back. He's almost got it down to 2 seconds now on DeCiani with 2 to go.
And you can tell he's motivated. But I got to say, in order for him, though, to catch DeCiani, he's got to be a second faster a lap. And I just don't think that's possible.
I mean, anything can happen, Brian. One slip-up is all it takes at a road course.
And that's exactly what Paul Hill would need. He would need DeCiani to make a major mistake. He would need DeCiani to probably spin it out or go off track or get a slow-down penalty. Something to happen that would cause DeCiani to be 2 seconds slower.
Yeah, and as we were saying that, Paul Hill had a little bit of slip-up right there. He just got loose on one of the curbs, it looked like, and lost a little bit of more time right there. He's giving it all he can right now. I know he is. Coming to 1 to go.
Is desperate. We're coming up to 1 lap to go here very soon. Of course, white flag will be flying here momentarily. This is Matt DeCiani trying to catch up to even more lap traffic. You see John Bender not that far up in front of him. I know Bender's probably main goal is finish on the lead lap, and he might be able to do that.
Well, here's where we find out, Brian, to see if they can make it.
This is exactly it. I mean, if they're going to run out of gas, this is when it's going to happen. But I think everybody has put their cards down. This is when we find out who's going to win, who is going to get this thing done. Will it be Matt DeCiani? Will he make it to the end on fuel? As we come through some of the portions of this racetrack for the final time, DeCiani, with enough of a gap, I think he can really just relax. Focus on making it to the finish line. I think that's exactly what's in DeCiani's mind right now.
I think so as well, Brian. I mean, he's got a 3-second gap on Paul Hill. Just be consistent, get to the line. No slip-ups.
Get there. No mistakes. Do not try to be a hero on this final lap. Because as soon as you try to be a hero and you spin that tire and you spin out, you give away a win. But I don't think DeCiani's going to do that as he comes through the hairpin. And this has been where he's been best all night long. And DeCiani.
He's going to get it done.
He is going to get it done as he exits. And he's going to come across the start-finish line as tonight's winner. I got to be honest, I did not. No one picked Matt DeCiani. You picked Paul Hill, I do believe. Kobe picked Paul Hill. I picked Brandon Pasalacqua. No one picked DeCiani. Now, you did mention DeCiani, though, but you didn't pick him. You picked Paul Hill.
he was my other pick. I picked
you can't have
Paul
two
Hill.
picks.
Yeah, I can't have 2 picks. I said Paul Hill and maybe DeCiani, but Paul Hill's going to be my pick tonight. So, shout out to DeCiani. Got it done tonight.
Yeah, he got it done. And he showed. I mean, I talked about it before the broadcast. I said that DeCiani is a specialist at this place. He's really good at Sonoma, and I think he proved that here tonight. So let's go ahead and go down through the final running orders. We see DeCiani, of course, going to be taking a victory lap.
Somebody's flipping.
Well, that's not good. Matt DeCiani, the winner here tonight. Paul Hill in second place. Brandon Pasalacqua finishes in third. Brian Johnson, fourth place. Josh Schaffner, fifth. Clayton Hoffman, sixth. Tim Wortman Jr. in seventh. John Bender, I should say, in eighth place. Ninth place, Greg Wachinski. 10th, Mark Sanchez. Frank Flores finishes in 11th. Kenny Powell in 12th. J.C. Evans in 13th. Matthew Cisna in 14th. Andrew Griesbaum comes home in 15th. Jay Hone, 16th. Randy Drumhiller, 17th. Randy Mullins, 18th. Jose Medina, 19th. Nick King in 20th. And Alexander Carr rounds out this 21-car field as we see Matt DeCiani doing a big burnout right here. That's a tight donut right there if I've ever seen one. Wow.
How about Schaffner, though?
I know. Starting all the way back in 18th and finishing, I do believe, in 5th.
It's impressive. Very impressive.
It is.
He didn't have
really
the speed as the 3 guys at the front, but to start 18th and pass that many guys to get up to 5th is quite impressive.
It really is. Well, let's go ahead and take a step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to our top 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we just watched the conclusion of the Sonoma Raceway event here. Of course, the Charles Shaw 145. We're going to go ahead and start with our interviews here. Of course, we're going to first talk. We're going to talk to Brandon Passalacqua in the 6 machine. Brandon, you won stage 2, or 1 and 2 actually. So awesome points day for you. What happened in that final stage? Why did you not win this race? You seem like the best car.
Yeah, no, Paul and Matt had better pace than me on that last run there. Not sure kind of what changed. I struggle on older tires for some reason, and I was out of fuel coming to the finish line. So it's been a common theme for me at road courses where I have good pace, but I'm using up much more fuel than the rest of the guys. So I ran as fast as I could. Just to make it to the finish line. So there's obviously an error that I'm doing while driving the car where I'm using too much fuel. So, but hats off to Matt and Paul. I held up Paul maybe a little bit too long. I wanted to see if Matt would come back to me, but he didn't. And Paul was super fast at the end. So great job to those two.
Well, that's really interesting that you talk about the fuel. So that we saw that you did kind of start backing off a lot more. Was that an effort to try to save gas? Because did you think that maybe those guys ahead of you would not be saving quite as good? Or
I know I needed to back up the pace because I've practiced during the week and I knew what kind of pace I needed to run. I had to change my shifting pattern earlier today, which caused me to slow down a little bit overall too. I was pretty confident that Matt for sure was going to be able to make it regardless because he's a phenomenal road course racer and he's done it before. And Paul, I had no doubt with the times that he was putting down that he was comfortable and thought he could make it. So it really was just me trying to get the best finish that I could and manage the race. And at the end of the day, coming out with a podium in ISCA is I'll take that as a win.
yeah, I mean, definitely it is a successful day for you. I mean, great points day. I mean, with Patrick not being here tonight as well, I think that this is going to be a very good day for you, and you could very much close that gap between you and him in the points, battle for sure. But we're hoping that you're going to get better at saving fuel because you have gotten you're really good at these road courses, Brandon. You're not getting the finishes I think you deserve. I got to be honest.
Yeah, it's going back to last year. I feel like Matt and I are always battling in these. I mean, we don't really battle on the racetrack. We have different strategies, but I always lose the spot for sure to him every time. And when Abner runs, those guys are always in front of me, and I always have to come down and get a splash. And today I worked on just trying to get to the end of the run. So we'll see. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. So maybe I need to reach out. But I'm just glad to have pace overall as it is.
Yeah, I don't think Matt's going to give you the secrets. I tell you,
that
would not make sense for him to do that.
No.
But Brandon, great job to you though, man. Fantastic run tonight. Definitely looking forward to seeing what you can do for the rest of the season. Who can we shout out for third?
Yeah, for sure. Just want to give a shout out to Matt and Paul for great runs tonight. Shout out my teammates Brian, Josh, and Randy. They had good runs as well. Good to see the team running well lately. Shout out to OB Builders, Door and Trim, and Ram Welding and Fabrication. Shout out to Kenny and everything he does for the league, and then you guys in the booth. You guys do an excellent job, and we appreciate it.
All righty, definitely appreciate you as well, Brandon. Have a great night.
Thanks, Brian. Take care.
All righty, that was Brandon Passalacqua, driver of the 6 machine. Won stage 1 and stage 2 and finished in third place. So definitely a very solid points night. Of course, next up, Paul Hill is going to be standing by with Dylan. Dylan, you have the floor.
Paul, what a great night you had tonight, buddy. Got second place. You've one spot short from getting the win. I know it's pretty tough. Nobody likes to finish second, but all in all, you had a great night tonight, man. Started on the pole. I know you had a little slip up going up in there to turn 1. Kind of talk us through your night that you had.
Yeah, I definitely started out great getting the pole. That was kind of the plan all along. Was super happy to edge out Brandon on that one. I knew it was going to be close looking at our practice times and kind of nailed that second lap. Thankfully, didn't slide too far out on that last hairpin. But then, didn't really matter when you don't take into account for the cold tires at the start. So kind of made my day a little bit harder than it needed to be. But, we all in all still finished super solid. I can't really complain. This group of guys out here that race every week are so fast. To a top 5 is a awesome night. I wish I could do it every night.
Yeah, man. This league it's got some good drivers and really good drivers in this league. So any night you can finish, even podium, top 5s, top 10s, it's honestly a blessing in this league. But yeah, you were my pick tonight. I just want to let you know that. So you let me down. Great job, Paul. No, I'm just shaking with you. Now you had a great night tonight, man. I love seeing how fast you were all race. You had a rocket ship tonight. You really did. I knew from the beginning you were a great road racer. Running with you in different leagues, I knew you were really fast, really good on road courses. But yeah, it looked like you were catching DeCiani there for a little bit. As soon as he got up in that lap traffic, it looked like you were really catching him really strong. I think you got up under 2 seconds. Was there any fuel saving that you had during that run in that last stage?
No, actually. So, the setup that I'm running with Team Conti, their setup's fantastic, and didn't really have to worry about that with the way the gearing worked. I was able to save enough in certain points of the track that I didn't really need to be too mindful of it. So thankfully, no. I was able to just kind of focus on hitting my marks and not spinning out over curbs, which I almost did a couple times. Trying to chase Matt. I mean, he just had so much pace. I mean, it was a lot of fun chasing the rabbit, but I just couldn't ever get to him with the traffic, and I was a little more hesitant. I didn't want to run anyone off the track, and it was a little bit on me. Maybe could have been a little bit more aggressive passing Brandon, but all in all, it was a great night, so I can't complain. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, you had a rocket ship all night tonight, man. I know you got second. It's not what you wanted, but I know you'd take it in this league. But yeah, man, you had a great night. Very proud of you, man. Did really good tonight, and you looked really fast. Before we let you go, you got any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I want to shout out Team Conti, Matt, all those guys. I want to shout out my boys over at Dent Slayer. It's on the side of my car. Those are personal friends of mine. Their tools help me make a living, so I can be here and race these leagues on the weekends. So I want to shout them out, and of course, all my teammates. So.
Yes, sir, man. Well, congratulations on your second place finish. And we hope to see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, that was Paul Hill, driver of the 26 machine. Definitely, I think his best finish in the ISCA so far. And I think if we go to another road course soon, he might be up in victory lane. But the man that is in victory lane, no stranger to being very fast at Sonoma. Now, Matt, I know this is probably going to hurt saying this, but I remember one race you had at Sonoma that you were absolutely a dominant driver and you ran out of gas. Does this feel like a redemption in a way?
That's funny you led with that, because that's literally what I was going to tell you first. I'm tired of hearing you say it. So it did kind of
I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention it.
Did kind of have a chip on my shoulder to get this done. Actually, I almost didn't even run this race. I got home, I don't know, 30 minutes before. I hadn't run a lap here since Sunday. So yeah, I didn't really put down a good Q lap either. So stage one, I kind of had an idea what everyone else was going to do. I figured they were going to run out the stages. So I stopped, I don't know, lap 11 or something to just fill it up, knowing that everyone's going to have to take a full tank at the end of stage 2. So it almost worked out until Clayton pitted at the end of stage 2. But luckily I got the lead, and yeah, once I got out front, I knew I was going to be okay. Paul had good pace all day. I was just, once I got 2.5 second lead, I was just kind of maintaining, not trying to do anything crazy. I was having problems locking up the brakes in the braking zone, so I was just being overly cautious, and I'd try to back my pace down, give up a couple tenths to catch lap traffic where I wanted to catch them, because if you catch them in the wrong spot here, you could easily lose a second and a half. So I kind of just managed the race once I got out front, and just kind of did what I needed to do to win the race.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job for sure. I mean, I think that was a stroke of genius, even though you might not have taken the lead with your strategy call. Clayton, of course, was lower on gas than you were. So I think that he had to back his pace down a lot more. And also, you just had, insanely good pace. I mean, we saw you hit the fastest lap, I think was a minute 13.810 or something like that. And it was crazy, crazy quick. So you definitely seemed like the car just started coming to you for sure. what did you didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare? I mean, was it just kind of you using your experience from times before at this track, or?
I mean, I did a lot of testing on the set that got released last week. So, I mean, I don't know. I probably turned 100 laps last week. But
Oh, wow.
with road course racing, I mean, it's so muscle memory and just reps. And I was actually kind of worried coming in not having turned laps on Sunday here. So, I don't know. I had 10 laps before the race started and 2 Q laps. And I kind of was just managing the first 2 stages, not really just trying to get the rhythm back, and then I knew once I got in a position, I just had to go, and then control the race from there.
Well, definitely a good points day for you for sure. I mean, I think you got stage points, and that's going to help you out. Of course, next week I do believe we haven't asked anybody else this, but Iowa actually coming up. One of my favorite tracks, probably is my favorite track. What do you feel about that track? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, short tracks are always fun. Typically, these cars are a question mark at some short tracks. I think we'll be pretty decent next week. But yeah, I mean, I think the update from what we were seeing slowed the cars down a lot. I don't know if that was collectively or just what we've been working on, but yeah, it should be interesting. I think tire management will be very important next week. But yeah, I haven't run since the update, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, it should be a fun track.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win, Matt. Who can we give a shout out after this big victory?
Yeah, shout out Team Conti. Paul with his great second place finish. Brandon had great pace tonight with his P3. Martin PC, you guys for calling the race, and Kenny for putting on the league.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Matt. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine, and definitely a fantastic run here at Sonoma. I think he proved that he knows his way around this racetrack. And this is a tricky track, so, I mean, it shows, I think, that DeCiani's got a lot of skill behind the wheel. But, Dylan, final thoughts here tonight. What do you think of the night's race? He's speechless. He just is so that's a great race.
It was a fantastic race. Shout out Matt DeCiani on the win. He is incredible. I've raced with him a lot over the time. Shout out Paul and Brandon, all the guys tonight. They did a fantastic job all night. Put up a great race, all race. But yeah, honestly, I'm ready for Iowa. I can't wait. Can't wait next week with the new updates on the cars. Can't wait to see what these guys put on the show next week.
Yeah, Iowa is one of my favorite tracks. I can't wait to see how that looks for sure. And I'm probably going to be out there turning laps, not in the ISCA, because of course they're not going to let me do that. I mean, of course they're I've raced in the ISCA before, but that only happened a few times. They said no, you got to be up in the booth because of how bad I was.
We'll have to talk about. We'll have to talk to Kenny about that one. We're gonna have to see you out on the track at Iowa. That's your favorite one.
Oh, no. But definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in. I want to shout out Josh Schommer, biggest mover, started in 18th place and finished in 5th. That is a huge,
very
huge
impressive, Brian. Very impressive. It really is.
Make sure everybody though tunes in next week. We're going to be at Iowa Speedway. Make sure you're here. You don't want to miss that one. That one's going to be some short track action. There's a multi grooves at that racetrack. Of course, broadcast starts at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Race itself a little after 9:30, so make sure you're there. We're going to be here. We're going to be looking forward to that one for sure. I do believe NASCAR is going to be actually going there for their first time, which is going to be really, really cool to see. I've always wanted to see the next-gen cars, the Cup Series, go to Iowa, and it's going to be so awesome to see it for sure, them at that venue. But this has, of course, been the ISCA Super Cup Series. My name's Brian Britt, and we'll see you next time.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA